Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dog on the Docks, as I try and center myself in the camera. Welcome to episode Piper Window.
I think you mean episode Izzy Pritchard.
No, I definitely mean Piper Window, who very much should have played on the weekend and not being put on the extended bench. But that's just a flaw we'll have to deal with from last week.
I really do think we should be naming it after someone who got 36 disposals and gets compared to Font in the media.
Yes, I guess we should talk about that because for some reason, like, the AFLW is obsessed with fixturing the Dogs right at the start of every round at the moment because once again, the Dogs get another relatively easy opponent and win, maybe in a less convincing manner, but still.
Well, about the fixturing, there's an old saying of Charlie Sutton's: shop early and avoid the rush. So I reckon that we went up to Andrew Dillon's house. We're like, we just have all the early games, and it seems to work.
Because if I'm not mistaken, you have game one of next round, and round 4. And round 5, so it's not until round 6 are you not the first game of the round, that is crazy.
It's splendid. It means I can do something my Saturday afternoon after the game. Very important.
Well, I guess
next week I'll be driving back to Geelong, but
I guess we should start on that game as we were saying earlier. Obviously, it was. I thought it was 12 o'clock, but actually it was 2, which was actually good because I was a bit late getting home. Bulldogs...
So you weren't just in Perth when you looked at the clock?
I don't know what's going on. Regardless, Bulldogs beat Perth. The Bulldogs beat the Tigers, the Richmond Tigers, from
Not
Tigerland.
The Claremont Tigers.
By 11 in a bit of a scrappy affair. It was sort of a bit of everything. It was a bit scrappy. It was a bit muscular. There was that point in halfway through the game where Elaine Greek was just okay out of nowhere.
That's Elaine for you every week.
But I should mention though. You yourself were a bit sick, so do you want to talk a bit about that and how your experience was watching the game?
No one wants to hear my experience about being sick. That was unpleasant.
Well, I hope the game was able to sort of lift your spirits as you were there in the grandstand, probably coughing up something.
Well, I was probably coughing up the furnace, I don't know. Nah, I was kind of okay at the game. I still had to drag myself out there. Drove home. Didn't do anything else for 3 days.
I was just hoping you weren't so sick that you had trouble focusing on the game and
No, I wanted to fall asleep as soon as I got home.
You got to get all the adrenaline up.
Yeah, well, there's only one thing important in the week, and I managed to make it there and didn't die in the experience. So so when you go to a home game, they always put up the video of all the players at the start. And introduce them one by one. If you do that at Docklands, there's this annoying announcer that just carries on the whole time. Don't have that at Whitten Oval. Very, very fortunate about that. And one of the players, well, she reminded me of an old story of George III I was reading up.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, George III, very, very relevant. So once 1764, George III's complaining to one of his mates about his new Prime Minister. And he says, when he's wearied me for 2 hours, he always checks his watch to see if he may not tire me out for an hour more. So one of the videos that comes up, it's a player checking her watch. Mualawifi, 5 marks. Did a pretty good job in our defence. I was reminded of the story before the game. Afterwards, I'm like, yeah, that's quite appropriate. I reckon the Richmond attackers were pretty tired of her.
I will admit, watching the game myself on TV, it definitely did feel like a game of halves. And it was later pointed out to me that during the entire game, it was all down to whether or not Richmond had a certain Mon Conti on the field. Because I found out throughout that entire game, when Mon Conti was on the field, you had about 33% of the momentum, about a third of the momentum. They actually had quite a bit of momentum when she was on the field. When she was on the bench, because it's inevitably a midfielder that has to rest, it was like 100% Bulldogs momentum throughout the game. And obviously, I feel like, well, how did the timeline of the game go exactly? Like,
I've got no idea. I was not paying up.
oh right, the Tigers kicked the first goal. I forgot about that, and they're actually leading by 7 before you kicked.
I forgot about. I was there.
Before you kicked 2 goals late, you then, yeah, you sort of slowly push the margin out, and sort of the half-time margin, which was something around 16. Yeah, that's roughly where it stayed. Although I think Walmaris might have got a goal after the siren or something.
I don't remember. I was very lucky to survive the afternoon.
Actually, can we just say?
Not that, but
I know this is the main focus of this game is talking about the Bulldogs, but can we just say, Olivia Walmaris has been a pretty damn good pick 1.
Hey, if you're second in your team's fantasy scores in your second game,
and you kicked 3 goals in your second
doing
game,
something right.
I'll
applaud that. That good on it.
Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't last year or the year before like Ash Tench was the first ever number 1 draft pick in a national wide draft, and so Walmaris is only like the second.
Something like that. I don't know. I don't remember.
She's already setting a really high bar as a player. But it did feel like it was very much a gay game of Monconti and Olivia Walmaris against the entire team of the Bulldogs. Like I feel like
can we just address her properly? Former Bulldog turned traitor, Monconti.
Why are there so many ex-Bulldogs?
Why are there so many ex-Bulldogs? Yeah, I'd like to know that. Because they're all the best players in every other team.
On that topic, I think they mentioned something. Was it during the game? It turned out that Fremantle's coach, I forgot what Fremantle's coach's name is again.
Lisa Webb.
Yeah, apparently she was at the game by the races. I can't remember if that's because the.
I don't know. I didn't see her.
Did they?
I wouldn't have recognised her if she was there, but.
I was like, did Freo have the Tigers next? No, they've got Carlton next week, so I have no idea what she was doing there. But it did remind me
down the road. She probably just got lost.
It did remind me of that time a few years ago when was it the Fremantle one of the Fremantle coaches was at the Bulldogs training session right before that last year, right before the final 24 game, and everyone was making jokes of you don't send a former ruckman to do espionage. They stand out those 2 meter tall guys.
Well, at Whitten Oval, you can just go and watch the men's training. There's a group of guys that just every day they just sit there and that's their entire day. And then they put all this stuff on the internet. If you're in the Bulldogs know, there's some good observers out there that.
Again, Fremantle just loves Whitten Oval for some reason.
You're just spies. Get out. I don't think they let you do that with the W team, but certainly the men's training, you can just front up to it whenever you want. It's pretty cool. I've been to a few of them.
So, having a little look more at the stats of the game, obviously Bulldogs dominated the disposal. It was 280 to 190. Won the marks, the handballs. Tigers won the inside 50s, interestingly. Dogs had a pretty 70% disposal efficiency is pretty good.
You're looking at all these stuff. I was at the game. I was just like, okay.
It did feel like it was obviously not as dominating as the Gold Coast game, but you got what you needed to do to win. So
yeah, well, I will shout out a couple. So Izzy Pritchard, we've already mentioned, 36 disposals, 9 tackles. That is actually a club best ever by a player.
What, the tackles or?
Well, the disposals is the record, but the tackles on top of that is pretty impressive. Then Jess Fitzgerald was 1 disposal shy of her record, which also was set last week, so she's on to an amazing start to the season. Elle Bennett has also played probably her best game of her career as well. 24 disposals, 5 marks, 430 metres gained, and he's 36 years old. So he's having a pretty good season.
You Bulldogs are just reminding the competition that all of them got snubbed from the Australia vs Ireland game.
Yeah.
I'm taking it personally.
I'm not taking it personally. If the Australia-Ireland game had Bulldogs in it, I would have had to choose between that and our training game that day. I didn't have to choose, so I'm all right with it.
But still, seeing Pritchard with 145 fantasy points, I don't think I've ever seen a Port player with a score that high before. Not even our men's normally get scores that high.
Yeah, because Port's not as good as the Dogs.
No, Port just doesn't have one player dominate the game. We usually just have like a very even game. Or in this case, a very evenly bad game. But we'll get to that in a bit.
Yes, we will.
Obviously, Emma McDonald with her 3, including my favourite goal of the week, which has to be the Edmonds task failed successfully goal. I'll put footage of that on the screen right now.
Drop the set shot, pick it up, kick it, get it smothered. Pick it up again, handball it off. Eventually, Emma gets it. We've also got a shout out. Amaya Wayne got her first goal. That was another pretty creative one. Marks the ball, doesn't get it caught as a mark, then just latches on to the other player who takes it out of her hand, becomes the tackler, gets to holding the ball, and then kicks the set shot. That's a pretty amazing first goal.
Oh dear, I can imagine this game was definitely even if it was not like a one-sided domination, it was a pretty entertaining game to watch if you were a Bulldogs fan.
It was. If you're a Bulldogs fan, I was a not Bulldogs fan.
I guess you can't really talk much about how if there's like any new setups at Whitten Oval, like if they've done something new in the.
Well, they've gotten rid of the pancake cups. So a couple of years ago, you'd be able to go up to the bar stand. I don't know what it's called. I don't name these things. And they go up there, and you'd be able to just buy these pancakes in a cup thing, and it's got like ice cream and
like
crackers
crepes
and whatnot. Yeah, it was pretty good. I had one a few years ago, and yeah, they're not doing them this year. We're all getting ripped off because those were good. I mean, usually I just take food to games, but those were good. What are you doing, Dogs? Bring back the pancake cups.
Well, speaking about things on the ground of how things were going, like around, like with the audience and stuff. There, you know how last week you mentioned that you heard someone say deliberate. I got one this day. It was caught on the mic. It went obviously through the behind post. I think it was one of your goals. Like you kicked it through the behind post down the southern end of the oval, the end towards the train station. And you could hear someone on the mic go, "Score review!" So we'll have to tune in for funny audience moments in the future because I know I haven't.
Well, I sent you the video of one from the West Coast game. There's my
yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
But because we'll get to the Hawthorn game in a bit, but like there is some really like rowdy Hawthorn fan in Adelaide that just attends the Alberton games, and you can just hear him just like ranting throughout the entire game. Going, that was shit. I can't even see what he's saying, but he sounds drunk off his ass. So I'm just thinking, like, what else have I got to mention on this game?
Deep Berry got injured.
Oh yeah, we probably should talk about the Dogs.
There's something about being sacked as sole captain. You get these horrible injuries immediately afterwards because Black has had hers a couple of years ago. Now she's got another one. Deep Berry's pretty much been injured the last 2 years, more or less continuously.
It's annoying that
it's so bad for her.
Yeah, and then we also got the news that apparently Blackers is not. She's going to be out for like 6 weeks. So. Do they have the full AFLW injury list? I'm trying to see if I can get the.
Well, our sets, Georgia Stathis is still on concussion. D Berry's TBC and Blackers is 4 to 6.
Yeah. Fortunately, I don't think the AFL's given us the full list yet because we dropped our full list in a bit, which is not looking too bad to be honest. We'll get that to that in a second, but yeah, I guess it's a bit of a concern. Obviously, I know you won't say it, but obviously next week is pretty much a write-off for you guys. But obviously you got some challenging games coming up after Tasmania, and I guess I would be getting a little bit nervous with especially some of these key players coming out.
Well, 24 we had Blackers out for pretty much the whole season. Still won 4 games. It's all right. We can manage without her. Fitzy and Pritch are onto a new level this year. There's hope. Not writing us off because of 2 players.
Who you got on the debutants at the moment, or is it mostly you're playing mostly a list from last year?
We only had 4 list changes compared to last year, and the ones that left, pretty much none of them played at all. So Brothwell debuted this week. Amaya Wayne debuted last week and has stayed in the side since. Charlie O'Connor and who's the other one? I should know. I should know. Michaela Can, of course. Well, she's not debuting, or she plays
club debuting, yeah.
Yeah, Charlie O'Connor was injured for all the pre-season, so she played VFL last week, but I don't expect her to be in especially soon.
Oh, actually, do you want to mention a fun thing? Despite being...
I do. We're still top 4.
Yeah, that's just one thing, and also
that's a fun thing.
It's also somehow, despite only playing 1/4 of the game, DeBerry got a higher fantasy point rating than Richmond's Charlie Wickesteed. So
not only 5% game time.
Yeah, it's like,
which now that you think about is tragic.
I just like, if I was an AFL player and like my fantasy points were like lower than someone who got like knocked out in like the first part of the game, I'd be like, what am I doing?
Still a better player than I am.
True. I think the one time I played an AFL game, it was the field umpires versus boundary umpires, the ACT, and I'm pretty sure I had 1 fantasy point. I got like 1 touch of the ball. Man, because I realize how fast the game is. You have to like sprint to get the ball. It is insane how hard that game is to play.
I'd be gassed doing a lap of the oval, much less actually trying to play the game.
Well, speaking about being gassed, I guess we should move on to the first loss of the year, which sucks that it's coming from my side. But look, we had the harder games over these first 2 rounds, so
I'll agree with that.
Although, to be honest, if we got through this game, it would have most definitely been you guys next week. But regardless, yeah. So this happened.
Just moving on. Don't want to speak of it.
No.
We need my match review from yesterday.
we do need to talk about it. So obviously, you watched it yourselves, so did you want to have some initial comments, or should I just go straight into it?
My first thought, and because I write my notes as the game's on, and then don't really go back and look at them after. My first thought was, you guys were so inefficient with your early dominance, because the first half, you could have put them away, assuming that what happened in the second half doesn't happen. You're inside 50s, midfield completely dominant, but then you just didn't score anything with it. Caleb Pope's goal was pretty good. Just comes out of nowhere, gets the ball, runs off, just, oh no, I'm just going to get a goal. Sorry, no one else actually matters. And then Lauren Young's goal right before halftime, that was also pretty good.
You can see why she's a pseudo number 1 pick.
Yeah. Then the second half, you might as well just draw a line. The first half, just throw it in the bin. It doesn't matter anymore.
Well, it was a combination of 2 things. The first was we were just really stagnant in attack. Those moments I saw throughout that whole quarter, we were just our players were just standing inside 50, expecting just to take like a standing mark, and they weren't like moving or making options. And unfortunately, we had that problem. You might have noticed that Gemma Houghton has cinder blocks for hands in like the first few weeks of every season for some reason.
What?
Like at the end of the year,
what
she
is
takes
her
the most
second?
incredible marks, but at the start of the year, she just cannot seem to do it.
What is her deal at the moment? Because I thought she was your best forward, other than Tahoe.
Again,
She's
she
one goal
builds
is
into
right.
she builds into the year. She
Shall I write this
always
down?
yeah no. Look at her. Like I thought of this last year. I was like, oh no, Jimmy hadn't dropped off. But no, by the end of the year, she'll be taking marks galore and kicking bags of 3 and 4. But she just
I hope you're right.
can't do. She just can't do it at the start of the year, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Like
So
but
your second half, once Tahoe goes down, you've got no tools. Well, you've got one tool who's been told to do absolutely everything. She's got to be the key back. She's got to be the key forward. She's got to be the ruck. She's got to run around the midfield. She's got to tag someone as well. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I don't like this.
Matilda Schultz is not gone. As
No.
much as we'd like her to be close.
Yeah,
she's
and
not
like I
gone.
was actually quite annoyed with the club how much they just made her do everything. Because like we for some reason, and like, I can tell all us Port fans hate it. Stop playing Tahoe as the ruck. She is a key forward, not a ruck.
Yeah, so your structure's just a total mess. Like, Hawthorn are a tall team. If you lose a tall player and you don't have as many to begin with, you're going to be shortchanged. But, like, they were just making a mockery of you.
Can I
you've
also
also
just
got
say... Oh, go on.
250-metre penalties, both to Poppy Stockwell. She's not getting either of those goals without the 50s. One of them, maybe if she's fortunate, the one that was on the 50 line to start with.
And Derek ran in, yeah.
Yeah. So
actually, you know what's funny? That just gives probably you deja vu of what Elaine Grigg when she gave Tahoe the 50-metre penalty at that like same spot last year.
That wasn't on the other side of ground. That was much closer to where I was on the fence on the other side. but thanks for digging up that repressed memory. Really appreciate it. One other thing. It was a very inspired choice to play the 5'3" Kirsty Lamb in the ruck.
She does that sometimes. I think she just finds herself around the ball and is like, there's no one else who to do the ruck contest. She did it in like 24 once. She jokingly said I think she did like 4 ruck contests throughout the year and had like 1 hit out somehow. Yeah, like we seriously, and this is an issue I've talked about in our preseason, that we don't have a second ruck option. Like we have
apparently Kirsty Lamb's it.
Yeah, so but I
mean,
do.
She's a good player, so
like
maybe.
Unfortunately, our normal second ruck would be Chloe Gaunt, but she's injured for like the next 2 weeks. So, like, we either bring in Grace Parsons, who's our injury sign-on player, or we like play someone like, I don't know, Julia Teakle as the ruck. I just don't know. Like,
well, I'll tell you something about these late season sign-ons. Our men's team signed on Caleb May as a ruck. Well, we've still not played him. We've had no rucks half the season, but we're not playing the one ruck that we signed.
We signed on Elkington, and she kicked a goal within a week of being signed onto our team. Nah, she's quite small.
I think Kirsty Lamb's shorter.
I'm not sure if she's going to be playing next week, because I really want to get Window back into the team. But I'll talk more about actually I should talk about it a bit now. Like I understand why we went in with an unchanged list, because the consistency is there's a lot of praise given to the consistency of teams. Like, if you keep your list consistent, if someone else performs better, they're just the raw talent. But we had Sachi Sai, who is a really good intercept defender, and we had Piper Window, who's a great forward talent, and we didn't play either of them. We also didn't play Julia Teakle. And I also remind you that Simon Teakle are part of our leadership group. So try to explain to me why 2 of our 6 leaders are not on field despite supposedly being healthy.
Because you've got a ton of injuries, and you need leaders to manage your medical room.
But regardless, I'm pretty sure all 3 of them are probably going to come back into the team. Especially depends on what Taha's going. She is listed as a test this week, so I think the taking her off precautiously potentially means she's okay.
I hope she comes back. You guys need her.
Yeah, I don't actually question who is actually your favorite player on our team at the moment. Like, do you
Caleb
have a
Pope.
yeah? Oh yeah.
As of last week.
I will just say, Caitlin Pope is like one of the friendliest players you'll ever meet if you ever talk to her on the bench. Like, she is always so smiley and really friendly. So I don't know if you have someone on your team who you'd say is like, yeah, look, ignoring the raw talent, they're just like the friendliest person to talk to.
I reckon that's why Dee Berry's our captain.
Okay, she like the
Certainly last year, because she's probably best 21, but you can't absolutely say that she is the way you could with Blackers. But off field, yeah, you can see it very quickly if you speak to her. She's very much a leader in the off field personnel sense.
I did want to mention one thing that I noticed with this game, and I don't know if you noticed this on the game, but after Young kicked that goal, did you notice that when the camera zoomed in on her, like it normally does after a player kicks a goal, she looked absolutely exhausted? Like, I think like someone like Dara or someone went up to her, and she like put her hand on her shoulder and was like, and I was like, oh, she looks, and then like following that, like I just felt like the whole team looked absolutely gassed. Like we got so frustrated not scoring against Hawthorn. We just tried to play faster and harder, and I think we just blew ourselves out. We had nothing left in the tank.
I didn't notice it from watching it, but during the game there was a lot of commentary about the pressure factor. At one point it was like 290 or something. Now, the way pressure factors calculate is basically if you stand there when something happens and you don't do anything, that's 0. If you're actively tackling the player that's got the ball, that's 375. And then they take the average of, I think it's all the players within a certain radius of the ball and average them out. And that's how you get the figure. 290 effectively means that 80% of the players that are being counted at any one time are actively tackling whoever's got the ball constantly. That is an insane rate of effort to keep up for any length of time.
Yeah.
Like normally it's 40% or something the measure, not 80. So
and like while it was impressive to watch us break out of all those tackles, like especially that one where Derek like breaks out of a tackle, just runs across the behind line and then just boots it into the goal at point blank range. While that looked amazing, I do agree that I think the way we played was not sustainable. And like what annoys me is I think they're talking that like our new game style is much more short range kicking than last year where we were like just boot at 50 meters down the field and pray. We're like the best kicking team in the comp as a result of that, but we also had ridiculous amounts of turnovers. But I think they were talking about today that like Hawthorn was so set up for our small kicks and we were kind of moving the ball so slowly that they were just sort of flooding players down, especially Lucy Wales, who was just non-stop like intercepting everything.
Yeah, the replay that I watched, whoever the commentators were, and one of them was Lauren Arnell, was basically saying that's Hawthorn's game style that you guys are using. Hawthorn are going to be good at Hawthorn's game style. Port should be playing Port's game style.
Now, can we say about speak about Lauren Arnell now? Can we just say, if I had a nickel for when a former Port Adelaide coach began commentating our home games this year, I'd have 2 nickels. It's not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Because Ken Hinkley's like commentating our Adelaide Oval games as well.
Well, he has to earn his fine money back somehow.
Oh dear. Anyway, so you were saying?
Oh, I was just making a joke about Ken Hinkley needing money.
Well, regardless, was there any? I'm trying to think if there's any mention on how the coaches' votes are going. If there's anything interesting, Jess Fitzgerald is currently, I think she's 6th, no 5th. She's 5th in the cumulative coaches' votes. So
well, she's had the 2 best games of her career, so.
Yeah, so that's a good. Obviously, I feel like we got screwed. Matilda Schultz was the only player to get coaches' votes for our team, and I felt like Abby Dowrick really deserved some votes. She was like doing really well. Like,
you think she's a top 5 player of both teams in that game.
I think she should have got at least a 1 or 2. I think, especially from what she was like the only Port player really getting to the ball and like kicking the ball out of the Hawthorn's 50 in that last part. I know I haven't looked at some of the other players that are here. I'm like, I don't think they were as impactful as she was. But again, bias.
I don't have the stats in front of me, so I won't judge.
But like looking at people like Anya McDonough and Lucy Wales, and maybe even Alex Jack Dupay being there. I can understand, but I still feel like I think Monconti was actually interestingly, despite having a good game, Walmaris I don't think got. Yeah, Monconti was the only vote from your game.
Yeah, well, if you sort by fantasy score, you've got Pritch, you've got Monconti, then you've got some like 11 Bulldogs with Walmarins somewhere in that group.
But then Fitzgerald, Bennett, and Edmonds got the rest of the votes. So I guess we should talk about some of the other games of the round, and I think we need to start with the game that was happening at the same time as the Bulldogs game out in the West, where somehow the West Coast Eagles lost by 35 to a team which kicked 1 goal last week.
Sorry, I was mentally crying. I watched the game and I was really, really sad.
I have a little bit of a skit here, right? So this is what a West Coast supporter is currently doing after losing to the 2 bottom of the ladder teams from last year. They are currently going.
I think you need to mail me the West Coast scarf, because the way I carry on about them, sometimes I might need it.
Maybe I'll bring it out. I've never actually. West Coast is like one of the few teams I've like never watched a game live. Like they've never come to Canberra, and like the few times I've gone like interstate, they haven't been playing.
Yeah, so, because you're coming down for the Dogs game.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they're not playing that weekend.
They're at Windy Hill, like immediately before. So
yeah.
You can probably get half of it and then get the train down to Whitton.
Yeah, I'd want to get to the Port game an hour early because it's my team playing. So I probably won't be able to do that.
Same. I would want to go and see West Coast, but I was like, I can't ever watch West Coast. These silly replays.
When are West Coast playing? We can actually look up teams at the moment because it's Indigenous rounds. So they've all been renamed to their teams. Like,
I've got the fixture on my board.
And they have to deal with like Port Adelaide's now the last team alphabetically because we're Yarraputi. So when's their first game in? Oh, they've got round 6. Except I don't know where you are in round 6. They're playing at Moorabbin.
We're in Perth. I'm going to Perth, and they're coming here. So I can't even see them when I go to Perth.
And you are gonna. Oh my goodness! Yeah, you won't see them at all. they're back to back in Melbourne those 2 weeks, and that's the only time they're. Anyway, I feel like this is what we normally talk about this stuff after the podcast. I don't know why we're talking about this during the filming. It's a slow news week apparently.
Well, I'll just say a couple of things about the game. Good job, Alana Welsh. 5 goals in her second game.
Yeah. And we were just praising Walmaris.
That is genuinely incredible. Well earned on the Rising Star. I will say she's trying to rip off Jeremy Cameron, doing the you get the ball before you take a second.
Oh, you do that.
But instead of squeezing the ends, she's squeezing the middle.
Oh, she wants it more pointy.
I don't understand that. That's hilarious. Also, Ella Roberts getting shoved to the ground at a centre bounce, and then Gold Coast getting the free.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
It's about. I think it's the second quarter. It's the dumbest umpiring decision I've ever seen in my life.
and we're gonna talk about the Eagle.
Oh yeah, well, just put up the video. That doesn't even need explaining.
I don't even know what's going on. I'm trying to find the video of the Eagle, but you got it somewhere.
The Eagle's mascot. It's in the background of the video. Just look at it. I don't have words for it, but it's funny.
Yeah, I have to. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I was just watching it again just to remind myself what's going on. The Eagles mascot's just like, I don't know. As people are loud around the far side of the ground, it's just.
I haven't been there. There was a waffle game before I got there, and then it was really rainy the day I went there, so I just sat.
It might be just because the camera's really high, but is it me or is Lathlain
Lathlain?
Oval just freaking massive? Like the players look so tiny on that field.
No, so what? Normally you've got the stand, and it's like a small staircase, and then you've got the seats, and that's it. Lathlain is like you've got a small staircase, and then you've got a big staircase, and then that's where you've got the seats above that, and then you've got the camera behind that.
Yeah,
so it is
high.
way higher up than any other ground I've been to.
You get a great view though. I love it. Like
you get an
I do not
view.
like. I love Alberton Oval, but my goodness, the camera angle is terrible because it's like off to one side.
Lathlain is probably my favourite ground I've been to, because everyone screams non-stop there, which is amazing. The view is incredible. It's this huge, expansive thing, and it's away, so I get to travel.
Here's the funny thing: this is the first year in like forever that we're playing West Coast at Alberton. Like we've nearly always played them at Lathlain, but this is like the first time we're not.
I've got game COVID.
Although, are you playing West Coast this year?
We're not playing West Coast this year at all. I'm so
because we are, and I'm licking my lips if this is how bad they're gonna be.
Well, I said I want to meet them in finals. Their next 3 matchups are Adelaide, Melbourne, and Brisbane.
Yeah, and
if they go 0-5, you probably need 6 wins to get finals. You might even need 7. West Coast, I want to see you in finals.
There are a few teams I think I'm already starting to put the pencil through, even though it's been 2 rounds. West Coast might turn it around. Like we saw what Carlton did in the men's this year. Just get a quick turnaround.
You think sacking Daisy Pearce is the solution?
No, obviously Daisy Pearce is a beloved coach. Hopefully it's not too bad. Some people have pointed out that they've like moved a bunch of their key forwards into like the midfield, and they're wondering why they don't have targets up forward.
I don't know. I watched them in round 1 last year, and then that was it until finals, and then I forgot about the finals game immediately after I left it. So,
well, they had a game against us that sort of went the same way the Hawthorn game went this week, where they were we got out early and then they just wrapped us in and won.
Yeah,
but I guess isn't me or was Saturday the day of the more interesting games, because we had to as much as I'd love to talk about West Coast and Gold Coast.
I ran out of things to say about them.
We need to talk about what happened at Cardinia Park, where Geelong, I believe, got all their percentage back after the North Melbourne smashing. That St Kilda 100-15. And a reminder, you tipped St Kilda this last.
Read my lips. No new taxes. So George Bush, 1988, that was his famous campaign slogan. 1990, he raised taxes.
I'm just happy that Gold Coast didn't break our score. We still have a higher scoring record than them, because there was a point near the end of that game of like, are they going to kick like 120 and like become the new record holders?
I did not watch Geelong vs Saints. I don't think I should.
Well, you don't, because it was more one-sided, and I've seen like a bunch of North Melbourne matches. Like it's literally like Geelong was just so effortlessly moving the ball down the field. I don't know. Like we had all this praise for St Kilda after a pretty spirited fight against Carlton, and they just do that. So I guess that's yeah. I think we're done. I think we're done talking about one-sided affairs. Let's talk about Melbourne versus GWS then. No, I'm just being silly.
Thank you, Melbourne. Sorry, I couldn't make it to the game. I was feeling wretched on Sunday, but thank you for that. We all needed it. West Coast particularly appreciated it. and I appreciated it.
Just remind West Coast that they lost to that team. Oh man, we're so mean. We're so mean on this podcast.
Not to West Coast, we're not.
Actually, a game though that you did watch, and you said even though it looked quite interesting, you said it wasn't very interesting. That was Brisbane Lions versus North Melbourne.
I was admittedly half asleep, but the Brisbane North Melbourne.
I was busy watching Spider-Man, so I didn't see it.
Oh, it's probably more exciting. Says someone who doesn't like superhero movies, but so you expect from North Melbourne, they're going to come in, they're going to stomp on a team's neck immediately, and then that's going to be the game. There's no point watching it. North did not stomp on Brisbane's neck the way they ought to have. Like, Brisbane were halfway decent for parts of the game, but Brisbane never felt like they're actually going to make a comeback. They'd have a large number of moments, particularly in the third quarter, where it's like, if they get one more goal right here, I'll start believing that they'll make a comeback, because they're down by 18 points or so. Then they just don't. They almost do, and then they just don't. And then you're like, no, North are going to just roll them, as they roll everyone. It's not like they got ahead and then North countercharged and rolled them out. And it's not like North beat them by 80. It's just this frustrating game where Brisbane cannot get over them, but they also don't look like they're even going to. And, like, there's a bit of discussion, is North being fantastic good for the competition? And, like, it's definitely good that there's a club out there that's amazing, because we can use that as a model for the other teams. But it's not amazing if you turn on the TV every week and there's a game that you know how it's going to end before it starts.
Yeah.
And, like, if this is the best side against North Melbourne, excluding Melbourne, and that's what they put out, that's not fun to watch. That was a frustrating game.
The AFL is doing stuff to fix it. Like, they're bringing in a cap now, so it's no longer the tiered players paid systems. Like, you don't have the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3s. Because they were saying earlier, the problem was tier 3 players at North were getting all the money from the grand final, and that was making up for the fact that they were a tier 3 player in North Melbourne. And I think they're trying to fix that out, where it's like, you can win a premiership with North Melbourne, or you could get paid $1 million with, well, maybe not $1 million, it won't be that much money, but, a lot of money in a lesser club. Because that's how lesser clubs can stay competitive, is they can get good players with a bunch of free cash.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not personally concerned about North Melbourne just being dominant forever, the way, like, Hawthorn was in the 80s, in the men's. Because most of North's best players are 30 and older.
Yeah.
They're not going to be amazing forever. Like, that's just biology. You're not going to be an excellent athlete against other excellent athletes at 45. It's not realistic. So North Melbourne will solve itself relatively soon. The issue is, if they're able to keep bringing in new players, and none of the other clubs are given the lift in development that North Melbourne's had, and no one else except maybe Brisbane has, that's when you're going to have a problem if it becomes too entrenched in the system. And so I think as long as the other clubs are able to benefit from the development side of North Melbourne, learning from their coaches and whatnot, and bringing that across to the rest of the competition, that's going to be excellent for the competition.
Yeah. All right, we've got a few other games to talk about. We obviously had Fremantle got their first win against Collingwood, but I think Collingwood, they've been mentioning on the shows recently that they've got problems there. Like, apparently they've got a lot of players, like even their captain hasn't re-signed with the team yet, which is...
Yeah, well, in 23, when we were dreadful, there was a lot of talk during the season that the injured players were, like, it was quite well known to everyone that's like they wanted out. And that's why you have like Newton and Katie Lynch and that just leaving the end of the season, even though they'd been mainstays of our side before then. Like, if that happens to Collingwood, like, they're already a not very good side. If all of your players can't be brought in, you'd hope that they just burn the house down and start again next
Yeah,
year.
and it's just surprising that this is Collingwood we're talking about. Like, this is the biggest men's club in the competition. They just have not really been able to transfer that giant fan base over to the women's.
I don't know if internally they've translated it over, because there's definitely some clubs that have done a better job of,
like Sydney has done a great job. West Coast
Sydney's
probably
excellent.
North Melbourne, I guess, but yeah.
North Melbourne's probably the best, other than maybe Sydney at the moment.
Well, Sydney I think's got the most members of any women's team, but those were old stats. They're kind of hard to find by the women's stats.
Yeah, you look at crowd attendance. That's your best estimate. But
and
I
don't play at Henson Park.
I mean, none of the games, except the ones that are played at Punt Road, none of them sell out. So
yeah.
the crowd that's there, it's not limited by external factors. If you want to go to the game, you can go to the game. I don't think Collingwood has had anywhere near the level of bringing over those internal resources that a Sydney or a North Melbourne has. But I think that result is more damning for Freo. Yeah. Because Freo is supposed to be a good side. No one expects anything of Collingwood this year. People expect something of Freo. And if you're only beating Collingwood by a couple of goals, you should be thumping them. If you're a good side, you should be thumping a bad side.
Well, we'll talk about that. Let's talk about that a bit when we talk about tipping this. But before we get into the tipping for next week, let's have a look at how we did last week. So obviously, my hope that the Richmond's upset would happen again was not to eventually. I'm annoyed because like we did it on both teams and you won in both cases, which pisses me off. But anyway, yeah, you got the Bulldogs right. West Coast is.
West Coast.
I was
down. I'm your honorary supporter.
Geelong. I was not only right. I don't know. I was right about Geelong, but way too right about Geelong. I got North Melbourne under 30, which I totally thought was like the insane pick to go with, but apparently it was pretty close. And
yeah, good job.
Do you know what we predicted the margin for the Sydney game?
I wrote it down, 24. I wrote it down.
Only 2 rounds and we already got it. So we will both be getting a point for that, and you at home thought that was never going to happen. I got 2 tips spot on last year, so hoping maybe we can beat that. We're already off to a good start if we got that.
Well, we're on track for 6.
The good news is you got a few more this time. You got Freo over 8, because of course that was I was trying to.
Yeah, that was a brave.
I was trying to go for like a little fish hook there, like with an eye of the needle there. I got Melbourne by more than 44. It was 48, so it was like a real close one. Had Gold Coast got 1 goal.
I'm just happy that GWS got thumped.
You got Carlton by more than 11. It turns out Carlton, like, again, Adelaide's in serious trouble by the looks of it, and then obviously we got the Port Adelaide. Adelaide won. Well, you got Hawthorn right. I didn't.
See, I didn't explain it. I didn't need to.
All right, so I guess it's now time to talk about the next round and some tips. But I guess first we need to talk a bit about the fact that you'll be travelling again this weekend.
Yes, I will. I will be driving down to Geelong on Friday.
You're going to use the ferry?
I'm taking
the ferry. I thought you were going to fly, but oh my goodness, you're using the ferry.
Because if I get the ferry, they've got a couple of TVs on there. I can watch the men's wildcard game going there. Then I sleep on the ferry. I drive down to Lottie. I watch half probably of the VFL game against the Devils. Drive a bit further. Watch our senior girls play against the Roos. Drive back. Get back on the ferry. Watch the other wildcard final.
Oh, you've played this all out. You sound like me with that level of autism. Sorry. But no, that sounds like
no to it.
that actually sounds like a really, like someone like me. That sounds like a really fun Wait to
Yeah,
take the
well,
weekend.
I did it 3 years ago, but it wasn't finals then. It was just some random men's game.
Well, Friday night I'll be umpiring Belconnen and Eastlake in the under-18s prelim final. So
Well, that'll be exciting.
it's great because I have to be careful with Belconnen because they use Port Adelaide colours, so I have to make sure I don't get biased umpiring. They're called the Belconnen Magpies, and they're black, white, and teal.
They're ripping off both Port teams.
But then they're playing Eastlake, who play at Woden Oval, which is like just over here.
Amazing.
But regardless, do I mention about when I last went to Launceston last year? Like I was.
That was the really rainy game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I still remember watching the cameraman on top of the roof just in bucketing rain going, I'm so glad I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But no, it was a horrible game. But the good news is, just a warning, parking, it was a women's game, so it wouldn't be as bad, but parking in Launceston during an AFL game is, like, I remember, like, I came, like, an hour and a half early, and I was late to the ground because the traffic started building up as I was in the outer suburbs of Launceston. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I drove to Geelong's men's game at the start of year. Shouldn't have gone. That was the game all them guys got injured.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I got stuck in traffic on the M1 going down. Got to the game 15 minutes late, and there was like, you've got parking probably half a kilometre outside the stadium. Just every spare square foot of grass has a car on it.
The way me and my friends solved that with Geelong is we did a trip to Portsea and then came back on the ferry, and so we're coming from Queenscliff. So like nobody comes into Geelong from Queenscliff. That's how you do it.
That's unique. But I've driven to a women's game at Geelong and been able to park 200 metres from the ground. No problem. So
hopefully you won't need to do what I did in Launceston and find a tiny car park and be thankful that your rental car gave you a Suzuki Swift. I literally just returned the keys at Launceston Airport. I was like, thank you for a Suzuki Swift. If it was anything bigger, I would not have been able to use that park.
I mean, that's half the reason I'll be leaving the VFL game early is because I've got to get in early. But I'm not expecting...
You been to York Park before?
Yeah, once 3 years ago, when Tim English decided to take a bounce at a kick-in when there was a minute to go in the game, and if we get it to the other side of the ground, we get a goal and we win. Against the side that was 16th.
Oh, dear.
Alice Edmonds had better not do a kick-in. I cannot...
But she can't even do a set shot.
In the kick-in ever again, I will have an aneurysm.
But regardless, I guess we should actually talk about that game. So technically, according to the ladder, this is first versus fourth, which in most other contexts would be a bit of a cracker game. I don't think it's going to be a cracker game, but here we go, guys, at home. Let's see how Ryan tries to justify a Bulldogs win against North Melbourne.
Have you ever watched the movie Waterloo?
Okay, here comes the movie references.
No, usually I take from actual history, not history movies.
No, I have not watched Waterloo. All I've watched is that crappy Ridley Scott Napoleon movie.
Oh, yeah. Watch Waterloo. It's how
I've heard a lot of good things about it, but go on.
Sir, Uxbridge, as I'm your second in command, and in case something should happen to you, what are your plans? To beat the French. And then he just puts the newspaper back over his face and goes back to sleep. That's Lord Wellington's plan on how to defeat Napoleon, and he did. The other thing I'll drag out of history is a quote from Shakespeare. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. North Melbourne, we do know how to beat you. Last year we had a pre-season game against them where Blackers was out and Pritchard was out, and we beat them. 3-9 to 7-1. So, bit of accurate goal kicking will help, but it can be done. And also, North's star player, Christy Lee Weston Turner, Westo as she's known amongst Bulldogs faithful, got 8 disposals in the VFL. I don't think she'll be up for revenge this week somehow.
Yeah, I don't think she's playing at all this year anyway. But unless they like have a major injury crisis. But regardless, let's just put it in. I'm obviously I'm never going to tip against North Melbourne, even for you, my friend.
Good, that means I'll get the tip.
All right, actually, no. Do I take a dare? I'll take you know what? I will tip every North Melbourne opponent if you beat them this week. Is that a good challenge? Like good.
I'll take that.
All right, I have to tip against North Melbourne, and probably throw away like all these free wins if the Bulldogs beat North Melbourne this week. It's better that than doing something really stupid like going shirtless somewhere in public. I'm not doing something like that.
No, just give me nine tips. Or 8. Melbourne might beat them.
Well, regardless, that's enough about Tasmania. We go to... It's actually, this is weird. I thought on the phone it was saying Unley Oval, and on the website it's saying Thomas Farms Oval. So I thought they'd dropped the sponsorship, but apparently not. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep...
I don't know. But
we call it Unley Oval anyway. I realised I forgot to mention it's the last game's at York Park, obviously not Utah's stadium.
But it's a Launceston. There's probably 3 football ovals in the entire city.
But regardless, having a little bit of a look at this matchup, Adelaide versus West Coast. Adelaide won, I think, last year, although I don't remember that game last year.
I don't remember it.
235. Obviously, these are two teams which have dropped the ball a bit since last year. One a lot more than the other. Do you have any comments on this, or should I just go with what my margin is first?
I still have faith in my Eagles.
You enough to tip them? All right, okay.
I am brave enough to tip West Coast. Please don't let me down again.
I very much think Adelaide's going to win this game based on the fact they've at least been semi-competitive against at least decent opponents.
I've told you, I base all of my tipping off spite, pettiness, and humour.
You hate Adelaide for some reason?
No, I just love the character of being a de facto West Coast fan. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Oh dear. Well, regardless, we go to Coffs Harbour International Stadium Saturday, 4:35. Fun fact, there's only 3 Saturday games this weekend, which is interesting. Like the other 6 are all on Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, St Kilda apparently won this matchup 2 years ago. But the odds are very much for Sydney to win after what happened last week. Actually, fun fact, trivia fact about this ground. Do you remember that famous soccer match between Australia?
No, I don't pay attention to soccer.
Oh, this one's famous. In 2002, Australia bet American Samoa in a FIFA qualifying match 31-0.
31 in a soccer game? The scoreboard was working?
It's the biggest margin. It's the biggest margin in FIFA history, and it was made at this ground in Coffs Harbour, because for some reason the American Samoan team was full of British Samoan players, Samoa, and so they were kicked out of the team. They had to play like the under-18s because they were the only players that were like actually from American Samoa, and Australia played their actual men's team, and carnage ensued. Apparently, Taika Waititi turned it into a film last year about like the story of when they tried to regroup the team afterwards and try and get at least one win in an Asian Pacific qualifier, an Oceania qualifier. But I just thought it'd be funny to mention that this is the ground where that murder happened.
I prefer to remember it for another murder that happened last year. It's called Essendon winning.
Oh yeah. So
I think Sydney
question. If Sydney lose to St Kilda here, do they officially cut the deal when playing Coffs Harbour? It's like, screw you, I hate this ground, we're never coming back again.
I think they ought to.
Because I know Melbourne needs to get out of Alice Springs because they keep losing there in the men's. But regardless, I have Sydney winning by 25. What about you?
18.
All right, so what's halfway between that? Would be
21.
All right, we'll go 21. So I have Sydney by more than 21 and Sydney by less than 21.
Yep.
Oh, righty. Oh. Jump over to the Sunday and we're in Canberra, baby. Monica.
So normally you're the one that would have to travel, and I can just go.
I just wish we had an actual team here so I could actually watch actual home games.
This time I'm traveling across a different state.
And meanwhile, I'm just hopping on the bus just out here that takes me straight to the ground.
Nice one.
But regardless, Saturday 12:35, which is annoying because I was probably going to umpire some junior grand finals that day. But
I think you've got a bigger priority this week.
Yeah, getting taking all that anger from Hawthorn out on GWS.
Please do.
So I'll run through a few of my notes here. Obviously, I'm very excited. First women's game we'll be watching this year. Okay, I guess I did watch the preseason game earlier. Port Adelaide has never lost to GWS. The first game we ever played was the Aaron Phillips farewell game where we got our first ever smashing, where we won by 70. GWS didn't kick a goal until the third quarter. We obviously had that weird close game in 24, but that's because Schultz wasn't playing. And then we had another big murder at the end of last year where Houghton kicked her 100. So you think we're gonna win, but I'm just nervous because obviously I just watched West Coast go down to GWS and then Gold Coast, and now we have GWS and Gold Coast. I'm like, please don't wind up like West Coast. I don't want to be super embarrassed. But regardless,
I mean, you've got the scarf. I don't have the scarf, and I'm the one that carries on like a fan of them. You never. Maybe you should mail that to me.
What with no spitting it?
Yeah, no. I'm going to birth in a few weeks. I'll pick one up.
But no, I'll say to Port Adelaide by 50.
I am concerned for Port Adelaide because I watched last week and I looked at your scores in pre-season. I wasn't convinced, and I rated you to finish 11th. But I also can't bring myself to tip GWS because I don't think that would be good for my health. So I put a margin of 12.
Well, okay. Oh, the maths here's going to be a bit difficult. That's
half of that would be 38, 19, and 12 is 31.
31. So I have Port Adelaide by more than 31. You have Port Adelaide. Another reason I forgot to mention why I tipped this quite high is in round 3 last year was against Gold Coast for us, and after two we had a game of kicking 3 goals, a game of kicking 2 goals. We then kicked 16 goals against Gold Coast. So something tells me the easier opposition is going to allow us to suddenly find a new second wind and really, really...
Look, this is a tip I will gladly lose.
Yeah. But
very gladly lose it.
Regardless, getting over, somehow Melbourne has landed 2 home games in a row as they're playing Brisbane at Casey Fields Sunday 1:05. This was obviously the rematch of the qualifier final from last year where Brisbane, I would say, I think Melbourne got... I think actually both Melbourne games with Brisbane last year happened the exact same way, in which Melbourne got an early lead and then Brisbane just steamrolled them as the game went on. And I think that's going to happen again here, in my mind.
I looked up the weather forecast. Now, Casey is windy. It is exposed. It's August. It's going to be 14 in Melbourne. Drive out to Casey. It's not going to be 14 in Casey. It doesn't get to 14 as a minimum in Brisbane, ever. Brisbane are going to get there, and they're just going to freeze. So
I have Brisbane by 15, and you?
I have Melbourne by 24.
Oh, we have different winners. Okay.
So we have different winners.
You think Melbourne have improved and Brisbane have? I just think after Brisbane's game against North Melbourne...
I think Melbourne could beat North this year. I just watched Brisbane fail spectacularly at doing that. So I'm riding the Melbourne hype train, but I also couldn't make it to their game a couple of days ago.
Well, let's talk about 2 teams that massively outperformed our expectations this week. Gold Coast and Geelong back at Carrara, Sunday 3:05 p.m. Obviously, Geelong won this game last year, I believe, and the odds are for Geelong to win. And look, after what they did to St Kilda, are you going to tip Gold Coast on this?
I am going to tip Gold Coast because see, you watched St Kilda and Geelong. I watched Gold Coast and West Coast, and Gold Coast were not terrible.
Their draft picks are their academy picks are definitely showing that they are. There's a reason why they were
nine new players or something, but once you've shaken off that first game, which they did against us, and okay, they've been terrible. Now they're actually like a team. We can't just say, oh yeah, they're brand new. What are they going to do? We've seen them do something, so I'm willing to believe in them now, rather than just, oh yeah, they're new. We don't know anything, so I've got to make an assumption. The assumption is they're probably going to suck. That they did prove themselves against West Coast. Why not? They could do it. They weren't awful against us. They were really inaccurate, but they weren't absolutely awful. So, yeah, I'll go Gold Coast. Why not?
I'm wondering if you're going to tip them against us next week, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well, let's see if you embarrass yourselves first.
Oh man, I'm so hoping we don't. But anyway, another game I think might be pretty easy to tip. Victoria Park, Sunday 3:05, Collingwood versus Hawthorn. Hawthorn won this game last year. A bit of a scrappy affair, but at the same time, odds are for Hawthorn to win. And look, the Pies look to be an absolute mess of a team, as being noted by the AFL media. I do think maybe they might make it scrappy and Hawthorn might not win by as much as they bet us by, but I still have them winning by 20.
Oh, I haven't by 42.
So that would be...
Oh, no, hold on. No, this is the one time my maths is screwed up. I wrote 6 goals, that's 36. So halfway's 28.
All right, 28. So I have Hawthorn by less than 28.
Mm.
And you have Hawthorn by more than 28. All right, yo. Now this is what I find interesting. Like, these last two I'm struggling a bit with. We're back to Coburn Oval. Sunday 5:05 for Fremantle versus Carlton. Now, I was at this game last year when it was played at Princess Park. You went straight to the Bulldogs game. I watched the end of this game before getting over and watching the Bulldogs game a bit late. Fremantle looked rubbish in that game. Like, it was obviously a bit wet and drizzly, but I think they were down by like a goal or two. And Carlton, I think they just did not look like scoring. And like, we've seen a bit of that this year as well. That Freo just can't really seem to score in comparison to Carlton.
Yeah, well, I've spoken before about rating Carlton as a team. I don't enjoy them succeeding, but I do think they're pretty good. And I just ragged Freo 20 minutes ago for almost losing to Collingwood. So I reckon Freo are going to embarrass themselves. So Carlton by 6 goals. I'm going.
You know what? Just because I'm so on the fence here, if it's not right with you, I might just go with Freo just to have the split, because I could see it going either way. So I will go Freo. I think I will agree. I think you got the better tip here, but I'll probably
it's the inverse of the Gold Coast Geelong game. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and then we've also got another one that I really am on the fence about. And that's Sunday 7:20 p.m. So pretty late at Marara Oval. Do you find it funny that the two grounds Gold Coast play at in Gold Coast and Darwin are Carrara and Marara?
You know that you can just call it Darwin because Darwin's tiny.
Yeah, I'm calling it otherwise. There are lots of ovals in Darwin. Actually, I just watched that video the other day of like some guy in one of the Darwin leagues just like doing about 4 candy cells in front of goal before finally kicking it.
Sure you weren't watching Bailey Williams in round 1?
Maybe. But regardless, obviously it's his dream time at the G. Obviously, if we have been mentioned,
it's not dream time at the G. Dream time at the G is played at the G.
Dream time at Teo Stadium.
Dreamtime at Darwin. Or
Dreamtime in the tropics.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously, last year Essendon won this game back when we actually thought Essendon was good before they then went on to lose.
Well, they were good. They won their first 3 games and then they just forgot how to.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Essendon did what Gold Coast did this year, which is win in Darwin and then lose like every game after that. But I don't know, like maybe I edge. Like it's hard to see Essendon's form because they got paired up against Brisbane in round 1 and got smashed. They got paired up against a pretty good Sydney outfit, but meanwhile you got like Richmond, who's obviously bet Collingwood and lost to the Bulldogs, who I would say at the moment I rate the Bulldogs sort of a middle of the ladder team. So if Richmond's losing to a middle of the ladder team,
we're top 4. What are you talking about? Look at the ladder.
I would probably say Essendon maybe looks like the stronger side, but I don't know. I feel like I just haven't seen. I kind of wish Essendon had a game against, I don't know, like a St Kilda or a Carlton or something, and then I could be like, okay, yeah, I know where they are. How you
rate Essendon? I don't rate Essendon at all. I look at the end of their last season, other than
they were beating Sydney at points, this last week.
Well, I didn't watch that. I was busy losing the Eagles. I do rate Richmond a bit, having actually seen them. So assuming that Monconti and Woolmarans play, which you'd hope they do,
and do 100% time on ground,
that would help.
Be physically possible, but so you guys gonna go Richmond?
I'm gonna go Richmond. Yeah. I don't.
Well, they're no longer my good luck tip because they lost. They lost me last week. So anyway, just to run through the tips. I have North Melbourne. You have the Bulldogs, obviously. I have Adelaide. You have West Coast, which is a real ballsy pick. I have Sydney by over 21. You have Sydney by less than 21. So we know they're going to get 21 exactly. I have Port Adelaide by more than 31. You have Port Adelaide by less than 31. If they lose that game, shoot me now. I have Brisbane. You have Melbourne, which again I find interesting. Geelong and Gold Coast is another one where I'm like brave. I
just did it because I don't know anything about Geelong. I haven't seen them at all this year. So I just thought it'd be interesting.
We'll watch it together Thursday when we get to that game. Yeah. Anyway, you've Hawthorn by more than 28. I have Fremantle, you have Carlton, and I have Essendon, you have Richmond, which I mean, it's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games where we've tipped differently, which is, I guess this is like, it probably won't be like this much longer because we're going to get to the point where the ladder actually starts sorting itself out.
Yeah, once everyone's played a good team, a bad team, and a peer team.
Yeah.
Then the ladder's worked out.
As Port Adelaide, it's good for us at Port Adelaide because we played one average team in Fremantle, one good team in Hawthorn, and now we're going to play one garbage team in GWS, and that hopefully will let us figure out where...
Yeah, we've played 2 probably rubbish teams.
Yeah. And so then you got North, and then... I think you got a few middle-of-the-road teams.
And Hawthorn are the next 2.
Yeah.
So after that, you've got a pretty good sense of where we fit.
But regardless, just a reminder on the total, I'm currently 8 points and you're 6, so you're not too far off. So if you can get a few wins on tips here, you might actually take the lead this week.
Come on, West Coast. Come on, Gold Coast. Come on, Richmond.
But regardless, I think that covers everything we wanted to talk about today. So I assume you'll be enjoying a lovely cruise across the Bass Strait while I'll be...
Well, it'll be lovely if our men's team decide not to just choke, which we probably will.
Meanwhile, I'm going to have a little look at the weather in Canberra because I'll be on a lovely 19 degrees... sunny day at Manuka Oval shouting, let's go power.